So joining us to discuss, Dan Geltrude, Managing Director of Geltrude and Company. Dan, good to see you this morning. Now, this news that we've seen this past week, it sounds pretty good, but should we be getting comfortable with these numbers?
Not at all. It is good news. Let's take it. Obviously, we've had a great week. It's part of a comeback in the stock market. Why did it happen? I believe that it happened because we have literally the smartest medical minds in the world working on this coronavirus issue. And we're going to see some progress at some point. So I think the market right now is showing cautious optimism, and I think that we should be the same way. I can assure you that it is not going to be a straight-up trajectory on the market, and we are still in for some blips, but good news, let's take it.
Dan, I'm very curious about the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, that we're hearing a lot about. We know that there's a lot of money out there, but then there's some issues getting to it. Before we get your take on that, Vice President Mike Pence talked about it. Let's listen to that.
With regard to direct payments to Americans, the Treasury Secretary assured senators, and we assure every American, that we remain on the timetable where the first payments in direct deposits will go out by the end of next week.
So money's set to go out as well, but I'm just curious about the small business aspect. How difficult is it to receive this money, Dan? Do you have any anecdotes yourself?
Sure. Our firm has been deeply involved in filling out these applications for our clients, and the process is not so simple, certainly not as simple as it was made out to be. Part of that is because not every bank has the same process. Although the application ends up being the same that goes into the SBA, each bank is doing it differently. Some are more difficult than others. And then, of course, there is the overwhelm in response of applications into these banks, and they simply can't handle the workload that's coming in. So I hope the vice president is right that by the end of next week, we're going to see funds actually getting into accounts of small businesses. I'm not so sure it'll happen that fast, but let's hope that it does.
Let's hope so. Again, those would be for the people with direct deposits. In the past, they're going to be mailing out the check in May as well. So it could be even a little bit longer for some people waiting for those checks. But always great to hear from you, Dan. Dan Geltrude. He's also known as America's Accountant. Thanks for being with us.
Dan Geltrude, Managing Director of Geltrude Company, known as America's Accountant. We all need him in our lives right now, and we need some good news. Dan, should we get comfortable hearing this news about the S&P?
We should feel good about it. Comfortable is another matter, Shaun. I think the news that we're hearing about coronavirus right now is positive, and the market is reacting accordingly. You know, this market has really been amazing. It just wants to go up. It looks for good news, anything to keep going higher and higher. And I think at some point in time where we really get over the hump of the coronavirus, I think we could see this market really take back all those losses to turn them into gains and hopefully get back to where we were prior to the virus.
There's all this talk about when we can finally open the economy up again. President Trump announcing a new economic task force in addition to the coronavirus task force. How important is it for these two committees to work together to figure out a plan? I just want to point out, you have these healthcare experts, very important. They're saving lives. But you also need the economic experts as well to navigate our country into the future. Dan.
This is a war on two fronts when we're talking about coronavirus. We have the very obvious situation with healthcare, and then we also have the economic issues. So now we're going to put these two groups of people together, our medical team and our business and economical minds, and see what they come up with. I think it's a good idea. It actually reminds me of one of my very favorite books called Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin, where it talks about Abraham Lincoln's cabinet where he purposely put people together that didn't get along and had different points of view. This is what's going to happen with President Trump, where you have people that are coming from two different areas. How do we put this together to somehow get a balance between what we have to do for the health of the nation and what we have to do for the health of the economy? So I think this is the right move.
Got to find the formula for that. And we need the experts on top of it. I'm sure there are. A little bit of positivity. America's accountant, Dan Geltrude, good to see you, sir. Have a great weekend.
Still to come, another positive story here. One actor and movie producer gave